Approved, then abruptly canceled. First tonight, environmentalists and residents raising the alarm after a lease for a massive mooring project in Exuma was suddenly canceled. So, what happened? And a major test for the country's new Anti-Gang Act as police deep into their first investigation under the law and expect to bring suspects before the court soon. Just what does this mean for crime fighting? The police commissioner weighs in. Wild weather takes Harbour Island by surprise. Flooded streets, down power lines, and viral videos showing the damage. We have reaction and the latest on recovery efforts. Then in our news at 7:30, a judge is laying down the law as prosecutors have until December to wrap up the trial of a former banker accused of a multi-million-dollar fraud at BPL. We've got the latest on this long-running legal battle straight ahead. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candido Knowles. Environmentalists and residents sounding the alarm over the approval and sudden cancellation of a lease agreement with Bahamas Mooring Limited. The company was spearheading an approved project for the installation of 250 moorings over 4,000 acres of seabed at 49 locations in the Exuma chains. Bertha McDermott gets us started with the latest.
Hours after they defended the choice to grant a 21-year lease to the Bahamas Moorings Limited, the office of the Prime Minister announced the deal has been cancelled. The government came under fire over the agreement that was later revealed was granted without environmental approvals. The Bahamas National Trust Executive Director Lakeisha Anderson-Roll telling us they're disappointed in the way the agreement unfolded.
We were really surprised to see that, once we submitted our concerns in writing to the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection and the Minister of the Environment, that things went silent. So when last week we heard that moorings were being installed and we were not made aware of any due process, any public consultations, we knew that this was a case that needed to be immediately addressed.
Anderson-Roll says there needs to be more transparency in issues like this, adding that while they have no issue with commercial projects like this one, the number of moorings approved was a clear violation. In a statement, the Office of the Prime Minister said the lease required that the company meet environmental and other conditions, adding that when the company began to install some moorings in advance of meeting all conditions, they were ordered to cease and desist. Meanwhile, Save the Base Chairman Joe Darville finds the entire thing bothering.
It just boggles my mind that anyone could have the audacity to actually proceed to do something like that in the middle of our ocean, in the middle of our bays, alongside our quays and so forth.
Minister for Lands, Prime Minister Philip Davis, had approved the lease for the company to install 250 moorings over 4,000 acres of seabed at 49 locations in the Exuma chains. No public announcement was made and no public meeting held. Local government councillor Clayton Patterson Smith says situations like this highlight the disparity between central government and local government.
It also highlights this mentality that once we approve it, we don't have anything to say to them. It shows how central government and local government are not working together as they should.
Reporting for our news, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that, Berthany. Police Commissioner Shannon Nold says the Royal Bahamas Police Force is investigating its first case under the new Anti-Gang Act and hopes to have suspects charged in court soon. It comes after Parliament passed the law last year, which carries stiffer penalties for people convicted of gang activity.
We had a discussion this morning in my commander's meeting about that law to see where we are. We are actively investigating our very first case, and the update that I got that I can give now to the public is that we are well on the way and hoping that very shortly we'll be able to put persons before the courts and deem them true gang leaders in our community and put them before the courts.
The Anti-Gang Act came into force on August 1st, 2024. However, up until last month, Attorney General Ryan Pinder said no one had been charged and encouraged police to use the legislation. Commissioner Nold says the investigations must be comprehensive.
It is not something that can happen within the 48 hours of policing any investigation. It is a long investigation that requires us to go and get proper intelligence on and documentation. And I'm pleased to say that we do have one case that we're investigating, and hopefully we will have that before the courts.
A judge has rejected a bail bid by a former fugitive awaiting trial for double murder. Perry Pickering is accused of the September 15, 2017 murders of 23-year-old Dennis Moss and 8-year-old Eugene Woodside Jr. Prosecutors say Moss was the intended target, and one of the bullets meant for him ripped through the 8-year-old's family's wooden home and struck him fatally in the chest. Pickering was charged with the murders in September 2024 after he was deported from Florida. Now to Harbour Island, where severe unexpected weather caused disruptions Tuesday. Videos flooded social media showing the flooding, as you see, and some downed power lines. One of the clips showing a fallen utility pole. That clip went quickly viral. Former Harbour Island District Council Chief is Terrence Davis.
For a short period of time, a lot of wind with that rain, and during that time it would have caused some flying objects to be flown throughout the area, especially in the area of Bay Street. Most of the damage that would have happened would have been in that immediate area where we would have had 2 service lines would have been pumped down. That would have been by our one of the restaurants that's at the foot of the dock called the Seaview Takeaway, and also a historic flagpole.
Now, despite the damage, Davis said there were no injuries and, of course, no lives lost. He reassured the public that recovery efforts are already underway.
They would have had a team from BPL that immediately came on the ground. Power is restored back in that area now. Currently, the 2 buildings that were immediately affected, they would have to repair those service lines so that their power hasn't been restored up until this time. But cleanup efforts has been made so far, and that area is able to have vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic move through.
All right, and speaking of that wild weather over on Harbour Island, it's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson, he's standing by in the Weather Center. Greg, I know you were following this. Can you tell us what happened? What caused that sudden severe weather we saw today?
Well, all the ingredients were in place. They had a potent upper level disturbance that was moving across the area.
Yeah.
Some cool air mass aloft, and then you had that front and a low pressure system. So everything just happened to be right in place. We did
very
advertise,
quickly.
Yeah, the Department of Meteorology did advertise the strong to severe thunderstorms that we did expect. And you see we got some of those, and in those we got some tornadic activity as well as some water spouts. So,
good to see the recovery efforts already.
Yeah, fortunately nobody was injured.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. But we got to watch these things as these fronts, potent ones, come through this time of the year. But that front is going to lead to some cooler temperatures. We are starting to experience that now outside our studio. 75 degrees with a few clouds. West-northwestward winds at 60 miles per hour. Slight breeze out there is bringing in that nice cool air mass. Feels like temperature is at 73. Right now it's 71 in Freeport, 72 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up 76, Allenstown, Bimini, Nicholstown, Andros here in the capital, 75, 74 in Great Harbor Key. Governor's Harbor temperature looks a little suspect, 78 there, but that could be correct. And down in Central Bahamas, 74 in Kemps Bay, 74 also in Georgetown, Exuma, Deadman's Key, and Cuba Downs in Salvador. Arthurstown, Cat Island, 75. 76, Duncantown, Ragged Island, Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, 75, 77. You notice you have some rain and some thunderstorm activity here. That's where the front is. 77 in Abrams Bay. 79, Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands, Mastertown in Agua Deep South. Temperature right now of 81. This is how things are setting up. That frontal boundary swung through the northwest Bahamas and the capital earlier this morning. We got quite a good downpour of some rain. We still have some residual showers hanging out behind, but that front is across the central Bahamas. We'll continue to push towards the southeast, moving into southeast Bahamas by late tonight and into tomorrow. Nice dry air mass behind that is going to give us some rather nice temperatures for the balance of the week. And we have another front expected week 1 on Saturday. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. Look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Coming up in sports, the Hugh Campbell Championship Trophy is headed back to Grand Bahama, and Coach Yo continues to build a resume for March.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
It's the first exclusive destination just for Carnival Cruise Line guests. Celebration Key in Grand Bahama, a multi-million-dollar project expected to help kickstart Grand Bahama's long-crippled economy. But questions are already coming about who will benefit, how much, and how soon. Atalia Hall asks those critical questions in a special RTV Presents Wednesday, February 26th at 8 p.m. only on RTV.
Presents JITG Music Fest. New edition. Tony Braxton. DJ Cassidy's Pass the Mic Live. Starring Ja Rule, Fat Joe, and Remy Ma. Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. Beanie Man. Escape. Coco Jones. Kem. Also, a special set featuring Miss Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, YG Marley, Busta Rhymes, Doechii, and many more. JITG Music Fest. March 8th and 9th at Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets at jazzinthegardens.com.
Tune in to Hot 91.7 for your chance to win a trip to Jazz in the Gardens.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The 41st Hugh Campbell final added another chapter to the Nassau versus Freeport rivalry and ended the local high school basketball season in dynamic fashion. The Tabernacle Baptist Falcons overcame a 17-point deficit to defeat the defending champion C.I. Gibson Rattlers 89-87 in overtime last night in the tournament finale at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium. It was the 9th Hugh Campbell title in school history and the 3rd under head coach Kevin Clark. Dylan Morris was named MVP with 22 points and 9 rebounds. The Grapefruit League in Florida and the Cactus League in Arizona are underway for MLB spring training. Jazz Chisholm got his first hit of spring training in his New York Yankees 4-0 loss to the Detroit Tigers at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. After lining out in the first, Chisholm singled to right field in the third inning, one of the few bright spots for the Yankees on the afternoon. Texas Rangers prospect Sebastian Walcott made several late-inning appearances, most recently in their 11-3 win over the Chicago White Sox. Arizona Diamondbacks prospect Christian Robinson also made his debut last week in Cactus League play. He scored the go-ahead run in the Diamondbacks' first win of spring training, 4-3 over the Cleveland Guardians. In the penultimate game at the SJB Pavilion this season, Coach Yo led our Ole Miss women's basketball program to a pivotal conference win. Ole Miss fell behind early and overcame a halftime deficit to defeat the Missouri Tigers 68-66 and improved to 18-8, 9-5 in the SEC. That'll do it for our sports. Stay tuned to our news at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Pope Francis remains critical but stable amid pneumonia battle. Plus, the U.S. to end temporary protected status for 500,000 Haitians, sparking outrage. And Stars paid tribute to music legend Roberta Flack, dead at 88, when our news returns.
It's the first exclusive destination just for Carnival Cruise Line guests. Celebration Key in Grand Bahama, a multi-million-dollar project expected to help kickstart Grand Bahama's long-crippled economy. But questions are already coming about who will benefit, how much, and how soon. Atalia Hall asks those critical questions in a special RTV Presents, Wednesday, February 26th at 8 p.m., only on RTV.
Presents JITG Music Fest. New edition. Tony Braxton. DJ Cassidy's Pass the Mic Live. Starring Ja Rule, Fat Joe, and Remy Ma. Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. Beanie Man. Escape. Coco Jones. Kem. Also, a special set featuring Miss Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, YG Marley, Busta Rhymes, Dolce, and many more. JITG Music Fest. March 8th and 9th at Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets at jazzinthegardens.com.
Tune in to Hot 91.7 for your chance to win a trip to Jazz in the Gardens.
Each week, we go into the heart of our second city and talk to the people helping to shape this community.
This is what makes me happy to come to work every day, to know that I'm helping someone.
These are the faces of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, helping to maintain infrastructure, grow the economy, and bring a better quality of life.
Our mission statement is to better the life.
Because I have to be a part of Grand Bahama.
Join me, Atalia Hall, every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. right here on Our News as we share these inspiring stories of Freeport. Stay with the team you already trust.
Bulk up your business and communication with parents, students, and staff in seconds with a live business bulk SMS messaging. This is the perfect tool to keep you connected and easily send important updates, event reminders, and emergency alerts. Keep your campus informed and connected with bulk SMS messaging from a live business. The right choice for fast, reliable communication. For more information, contact the experts.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. remains in critical but stable condition, the Vatican said Tuesday. He's had no acute respiratory episodes and his vital signs holding steady. The Vatican said a CT scan Monday night monitored his pneumonia, but his prognosis still unclear. Despite his condition, the 88-year-old Pope resumed work after receiving the Eucharist. He slept through the night and continued treatment Tuesday. Francis has been in hospital since February 14th with bronchitis, while officials noted a slight improvement. On Monday, he remains under close watch. The United States will end temporary protected status for 500,000 Haitians in August this year. The Department of Homeland Security announced as much on Thursday. This means they'll lose work permits and could face deportation despite worsening conditions in Haiti, where gangs control 85% of the capital and sexual violence has reportedly soared. Haitians have had TPS since 2010, but the Trump administration argues the system has been exploited. Critics call the decision shameful, given the violence and instability in Haiti. And tributes pouring in for Roberta Flack, the legendary singer behind Killing Me Softly with his song, who passed away Monday at 88. Dionne Warwick called Flack a dear friend and shared a duet they performed together. Jennifer Hudson praised her as one of the great soul singers of all time, while Reverend Al Sharpton remembered her activism and friendship with the civil rights movement. Flack, a 5-time Grammy winner, was the first artist to win Record of the Year twice in a row. She was diagnosed with ALS in 2022, which ended her ability to sing. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was February 25th. Then in our news at 7:30, a new police panel is in the works, but is it enough? As police conduct under review, a local bishop calls for more citizen oversight. And Bahamian businessman Toby Smith isn't backing down, calling for answers on the $165 million RCI Beach Club project. Smith raising concerns about who's really getting the work, Bahamians or foreigners. The latest on his land dispute when our news returns.
It's the first exclusive destination just for Carnival Cruise Line guests. Celebration Key in Grand Bahama, a multi-million-dollar project expected to help kickstart Grand Bahama's long-crippled economy. But questions are already coming about who will benefit, how much, and how soon. Atalia Hall asks those critical questions in a special RTV Presents, Wednesday, February 26th at 8 p.m., only on RTV.
Presents JITG Music Fest. New edition. Tony Braxton. DJ Cassidy's Pass the Mic Live. Starring Ja Rule, Fat Joe, and Remy Ma. Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. Beanie Man. Escape. Coco Jones. Kim. Also, a special set featuring Miss Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, YG Marley, Busta Rhymes, Doechii, and many more. JITG Music Fest. March 8th and 9th at Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets at jazzinthegardens.com.
Tune in to Hot 91.7 for your chance to win a trip to Jazz in the Gardens.
Each week, we go into the heart of our second city and talk to the people helping to shape this community.
This is what makes me happy to come to work every day, to know that I'm helping someone.
These are the faces of the Grand Bahama Port Authority helping to maintain infrastructure.
On this day in Bahamian history, in 1720, Governor Wood Rogers successfully defended New Providence against a larger Spanish raiding party from Cuba. Despite the victory, the Spanish took over 100 enslaved people from the city. In 1809, Lord John Murray, Earl of Dunmore, died in Ramsgate, England, at age 79. He served as governor of the Bahamas from 1787 to 1796. Nassau's Dunmore Lane and Harbour Island's Dunmore Town are named after him. In 2012, the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium officially opened in Nassau. It was a gift from the Chinese government to the people of the Bahamas. And in 2022, 5 months after its election defeat, the Free National Movement elected a new executive team during a 3-day convention at Atlantis. Shannon Don Cartwright became deputy leader and Dr. Dwayne Sands was elected chairman.
Well, I believe fundamentally we have to get to the business of strengthening our constituency associations. We know how important they are to our agenda in terms of regaining the government. And so we're going to be doing our endeavor best and our earnest, as we have been.
My role as CEO or chairman of this organization is to make this party battle ready. That means that we will be working with all of the associations, all of the people that have supported this great party and want to support this great party as we prepare the vision for this great Bahamas.
FNM leader Michael Pintard apologized to Bahamians affected by decisions made under the Minnis administration, admitting, quote, "We did not get everything right." And in 2023, Prince Edward and Countess Sophie of Wessex concluded a 2-day visit meeting PM Philip Davis, engaging volunteers, and attending a Governor General's Youth Awards ceremony. Their visit drew attention from the Bahamas National Reparations Committee, which urged the royals to acknowledge calls for reparations, declaring the time is now.
All right, Hot 91 and our news teaming up to get you to this year's Jazz in the Gardens, March 8th and 9th, featuring Lauryn Hill, New Edition, Tony Braxton, Beanie Man, and more. So be sure to listen in to Hot 91 weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. to hear the Jazz in the Gardens code phrase. Now, once you hear it, you've got to head over to hot91fm.com or the Music Media 242 app contest page to enter. The winners will receive round-trip tickets, hotel, and concert tickets for you and a friend. So be sure to look out for the R News team to tell us all about your experience. It's the Jazz in the Gardens Fly Away promotion. All right, if you want to learn more about the promotion and to watch any of the stories you saw during this half hour, please visit rnews.bs and, of course, R News Bahamas on Facebook. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia, have you ever been to Jazz in the Gardens?
Yes, Ken. Last year,
right, so
Nate and I went, and I had a blast, and I'm ready to go again.
Yeah.
So I'm entering the promotion because
I
want to go.
Why you gone?
Yes.
And now we're in year 2 and I don't get to go.
You don't get to go.
That's all right.
I'm so sorry, but I had a
ball. But I know who's going is going to do an excellent job.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Ken. Well, coming up, a new police panel is in the works, plus a Bahamian businessman, Toby Smith, isn't backing down. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on our News Live at 7:30, a judge has given the prosecution until the end of the year to conclude the trial of a former banker accused of defrauding Bahamas Power and Light of almost $2 million. We have the details coming up. Plus, the former Crime Council chairman weighing in on the police investigative panel. Also, Bahamian businessman Toby Smith is calling for more transparency when it comes to the RCI Beach Club project on Paradise Island. And later, Roman Diocese of Nassau Archbishop Patrick Pinder reacts to Pope Francis' illness, the impact on the Catholic faith, the country, and the world. The story when our News Live at 7:30 returns.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Struckham, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Struckham, #1 in pest control services.
Diet-friendly special.
Inti Corporation is on the move, day by day, panel by panel. Our commitment to sustainable energy becomes more real. With each milestone, Inti redefines what is possible. Not only are the Lucaya solar power projects on the island of Grand Bahama growing in scale, they are setting a new standard for energy independence in the Bahamas. These state-of-the-art solar farms at the Fairfield and Devon sites, once completed, will harness the power of the sun to generate 9.5 megawatts of clean, sustainable energy. Inti is on the move as a beacon of progress and innovation that is rapidly transforming our energy landscape. Witness the future of sustainable energy unfolding on the island of Grand Bahama as Inti Corporation shines brighter than ever. Inti Corporation, powering your world, powering your future.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that runny nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set up all can deal with that fast, yeah. Try set up all cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try Cetamol, cold and flu, and get back to the better you. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
It's the first exclusive destination just for Carnival Cruise Line guests. Celebration Key in Grand Bahama, a multi-million-dollar project expected.
Welcome to our news. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. While a judge has given the prosecution until the end of the year to conclude a trial of a former banker accused of defrauding Bahamas Power and Light of almost $2 million, Justice Clara Card-Stubbs was warned that the trial against Reno Bethel would be dropped permanently if the matter isn't concluded by December 20th. Bethel, through his lawyer Rizard Humes, filed a constitutional motion alleging that his right to a trial within a reasonable time had been breached after the matter remained in limbo since 2020. Bethel and others were charged in 2017 after prosecutors alleged that they were a part of a ring that received payment for fake bills sent to BPL. The trial began in 2018 and the magistrate hearing the matter resigned in 2020. Well, former chairman of the National Advisory Council on Crime, Bishop Simeon Hall, says he understands government is forming a police panel to investigate the conduct of officers, something he agrees with. However, he's calling for more citizens to be on that panel, adding that it adds more accountability to the process. And with public trust in the police force and all eyes of the many at an all-time low, Bishop Hall says now is the time to separate the bad apples from the good.
And like any institution, we call on people to hold faith towards the institution and to do whatever we can to minimize those who go awry, go offbeat in their commitment to service. The police, I think, and it's so interesting that whereas however many hundreds there are, a few can give a bad color.
It comes at a time when senior police officers have been brought before the courts on serious charges. Police Commissioner Shanton Knowles has promised to clean up the image of the force.
We must be clear and unequivocal in saying that you can trust the police. There are 4,000 churches in this Bahamas. The majority of our churches do well, but there are some charlatans among us. And I'm saying that's the Christian Council's business, that we should find a way for people to have trust in us. And the same thing with the police.
All right, well, Bahamian businessman Toby Smith is calling for more transparency when it comes to the $165 million RCI Beach Club project on Paradise Island. And while he's in the midst of a land dispute, Smith says he won't stand by as he believes foreigners are getting more work than Bahamians on the project. Our Joshua Williams reports.
People will see that I'm a person of principles. I'm standing up for Bahamians.
Developer and entrepreneur Toby Smith is once again on the offense. He's calling for transparency and accountability when it comes to the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line Royal Beach Club project that's currently underway on Paradise Island. Last week, Smith released these videos claiming that construction workers were foreign nationals. President and General Manager of RCI Beach Club, Philip Simon, dismissed the videos, saying they've lived up to their 4951 agreement with the government. But Smith claims they're not being upfront with what's going on.
OCAD being committed to Bahamians having jobs, giving it to a subcontractor who then hires foreign nationals is not giving Bahamians jobs.
From the start, Smith has questioned the deal, doubting that Bahamians will benefit at all.
I think it is only fair that Bahamians understand the inequality that's going on. So while Bahamians are struggling already and having to face paying not only VAT, business license, NIB contributions, etc., and a foreign entity doesn't, on the promise of jobs, Bahamians are better than just getting jobs cleaning toilets, picking up garbage.
Smith has been engulfed in a long back and forth over 3 acres of Crown land on Paradise Island. While the Court of Appeal overwhelmingly voted to uphold the Supreme Court's decision on the matter back in April 2024, Smith says they're taking the case to the highest court of the land.
We are on the, we're going through the procedure of getting to the Privy Council, and once we receive the certificate for leave from the Court of Appeal, which is a procedure that we must go through, then we'll be going on to the Privy Council.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, thanks so much for that, Josh. Well, the global Catholic community is keeping a close watch on the health of Pope Francis as concerns grow over his illness here in the Bahamas. Those in the Catholic faith are joining in prayers for his recovery. I sat down with the Roman Diocese of Nassau to discuss the Pope's condition, its impact on the Church, and what it means for Catholics locally and around the world. Pope Francis, the leader of over 1 billion Catholics worldwide, has been battling health challenges, raising questions about the future of the Church. Here in the Bahamas, the Catholic community has also been praying for the Pope. With Pope Francis' influence across the Caribbean, Roman Catholic Archbishop Patrick Pinder says the Pope has spent 11 nights in hospital and his condition has been listed as critical.
Although the last 2 nights it's been seen as improving, but nonetheless it remains critical. The good thing is, over the last day or so, he's actually begun to resume some level of his work, so that's very, very promising.
The Archbishop says Pope Francis' leadership has played a key role in shaping the Church.
His exercise of the role of Pope has been generally, I think, less formal than many of his predecessors. And you see that particularly, for example, most particularly in the way he has chosen to live in the guest house, the Domus Santa Marta at the Vatican, rather than living in the apostolic apartments of the apostolic palace as his predecessors did. Also, you see it, for example, in the way he moves. For example, when he travels, he doesn't drive a very elaborate luxury vehicle. He drives a very simple vehicle. You see it, too, in so many other ways. I think also, his concern has been for reaching out to what he refers to as the peripheries.
Archbishop Pinder has had several opportunities to meet the Pope.
But he has a very, very warm and endearing personality.
The uncertainty surrounding the Pope's health has sparked discussions about the Church's leadership. The Archbishop says the Pope is still on the job.
He is able to govern. There's no question about it. He still gives his instructions. Just yesterday, for example, he released his message for Lent, which begins a week from tomorrow. He released his annual message for Lent. He also gave a few instructions with regards to appointments at the Vatican.
And following several social media reports of the Pope's health condition, the Archbishop encouraging people to only listen to reputable media outlets. For now, he says the focus remains on prayer and faith.
I would like to see the Pope recover. I think all good Catholics would like to see that. And I believe that the kind of leadership that he's given in the past will continue.
All All right, such a positive interview. Well, grab those umbrellas as we saw heavy rain hit the capital today. But the question is, will conditions improve before the weekend? Meteorologist Greg Thompson is live in the Weather Center with that. So, Greg, I woke up this morning and it sounded like a huge thunderstorm was happening.
We had some rumbles of thunder. We had some severe thunderstorms occur across the northwest Bahamas. That was advertised by the Department of Meteorology. But most of the activity is now in the central Bahamas, so we've been improving throughout the rest of the evening and into tonight across the northern islands. 75 degrees, cool temperatures tonight. Few clouds, the winds out of the west-northwest at 15 miles per hour, bringing in that cool air mass. Feels like temperature is at 73. Satellite radar composite, frontal boundary pushed through the northwest and portions of the central Bahamas earlier this morning, now down to deep southeast Bahamas. Should be getting into its central Bahamas actually, should be getting into southeast Bahamas tonight, bringing some isolated showers, possibly even an isolated thunderstorm down there. But we have some very nice dry air mass moving in. That's going to continue to keep us with some very nice temperatures for the balance of the week. But we do expect another front, a weak one, by the weekend. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, following recent shark attacks, the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources is speaking out. We have their response and what's being done to protect beachgoers. Plus, the Bahamas National Trust Executive Director Lakeisha Anderson-Roll is calling on government to take environmental regulations seriously. This comes after a cancellation of a 21-year lease for Bahamas Moorings Limited. And later, want to experience one of the biggest music festivals of the year? Hot 91 and Our News are teaming up to get you to Jazz in the Gardens. That's all coming up when Our News returns.
It's the first exclusive destination just for Carnival Cruise Line guests. Celebration Key in Grand Bahama, a multi-million-dollar project expected to help kickstart Grand Bahama's long-crippled economy. But questions are already coming about who will benefit, how much, and how soon. Atalia Hall asks those critical questions in a special RTV Presents, Wednesday, February 26th at 8 p.m., only on RTV.
Shark attacks have left both locals and tourists in the Bahamas shocked following an incident in Bimini earlier this month where 2 American women were attacked while swimming. The women are now recovering, but the case has captured significant international media attention. Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister Jomo Campbell addressed the situation on the sidelines of the SBDC fly fishing event, stating government is taking immediate action to tackle the increasing number of such incidents. However, he emphasized that sharks are in their natural habitat in Bahamian waters, and human intervention can play a crucial role in reducing the risk of these attacks.
We invite the public and visitors as well to apply some, what we call more common sense approaches. You know, there are certain times of the evening that you can expect to see a heightened increase in the sharks. They feed normally after dusk, for anywhere between 5:30 and 7 p.m. when it gets a bit darker. And then, of course, we know the traditional chumming of the waters, even sometimes throwing of slop back into the water, cleaning our fishes and cleaning conchs, etc. So there's a lot of common sense activities that can be done to help to reduce this.
In the interim, the minister adds the authorities are working on solutions to prevent further incidents.
In the very near future, actually this week, we intend to meet. A subcommittee was formed by Cabinet, and we will be meeting with the Minister of Tourism, the Deputy Prime Minister, and other involved stakeholders from a cabinet standpoint to see how we can craft policies that will address these issues.
Bahamas National Trust Executive Director Lakeisha Anderson-Roll calling on government to be serious about enforcing environmental regulations. It comes after the government canceled a 21-year lease for Bahamas Moorings Limited that got approval to install 250 moorings over 4,000 acres of seabed at 49 locations in the Exuma chain. The project's approval was not publicly announced and no public meetings were held. Anderson-Roll says the biggest issue is capacity and enforcement.
The environmental legislation and the regulations that were recently passed, there are stiff penalties in place. They need to be enforced. The government needs to take it serious to increase the capacity within these agencies, to allow due process, to allow the inspection and oversight of any certificates or any permits that are being placed. We on a regular basis receive complaints about dredging activities that are happening throughout the country, and we report them immediately.
Anderson-Roll says the BNT is looking for government to enact and put in place the Baha Wind Bill, adding consultation has already concluded for the bill. She believes due process is important to build trust with the Bahamian process to ensure Bahamians are caught by surprise.
This was a shock and a surprise for many Bahamians, and we are really, concerned that, the recommendations that were put forward they were bypassed.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When our news comes back from the break, from the Bahamas to the world stage, a local artist lands a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work with music legends. Our Daniel Miller brings us the inspiring story coming up.
Coming up in sports, the unofficial national champion is crowned, Coach Yo's team stays sharp in SEC play, and an update on Bahamians at MLB spring training.
And a wet start to the day in Nassau, but will we see clearer skies before the weekend? Greg is back with your extended weather when our news continues. Stay with us.
Family, how you look so down? Set up all cold and flu, could flip that frown. All the coughing and that running nose cannot last. You must come back to work and class. Set them all can deal with that fast, yeah. Try set them all cold and flu, daytime and nighttime too. Try Setamol, cold and flu, and get back to the better you. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
Distributed by Lowe's Wholesale Drug Agencies Limited.
My name is Trey Williams. I've been a live fiber customer.
Welcome to Our Sports presented by 10th year seniors. I'm John Mark Nutt. Let's do show. The 41st Hugh Campbell final added another chapter to the Nassau versus Freeport rivalry and ended the local high school basketball season in dynamic fashion.
The Tabernacle Baptist Falcons overcame a 17-point deficit to defeat the defending champion C.I. Gibson Rattlers 89-87 in overtime last night in the tournament finale at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium. It was the 9th Hugh Campbell title in school history and the 3rd under head coach Kevin Clark. Dylan Morris was named MVP with 22 points and 9 rebounds, but it was the late game heroics of Claudius Burrows that led the charge down the stretch for the Falcons. Burrows scored 16 of his 18 points in the second half. Tabernacle trailed 80-79 with 1:57 left in overtime when he made back-to-back threes to put the Falcons ahead for good. Morris's putback with under 10 seconds left to play was the game's final score before the Rattlers missed a pair of go-ahead three-pointers. Also in double figures for the Falcons, Gianno Murray scored 16 and Anthony Mizik scored 15. Last year's MVP, Deshaun Butler, led the C.I. Gibson Rattlers with 27 points, while Conde Smith had 26 points and 9 rebounds, and Darius Hannah scored 16.
The Grapefruit League in Florida and the Cactus League in Arizona are underway for MLB spring training.
Jazz Chisholm got his first hit of spring training in his New York Yankees 4-0 loss to the Detroit Tigers at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. After lining out in the first, Chisholm singled to right field in the 3rd inning, one of the few bright spots for the Yankees on the afternoon. Defensively, Chisholm is back in a familiar spot on the infield, getting the start at second base, the position where he earned the All-Star selection in 2022. Chisholm spent the last season at third base for the first time in his career, as the Yankees made their run to the World Series. Texas Rangers prospect Sebastian Walcott made several late-inning appearances, most recently in their 11-3 win over the Chicago White Sox. Walcott, who ended last season in Double-A, also had 2 at-bats, defensive subs at shortstop, and as a pitch runner. He is the top prospect in the Rangers organization and ranked number 17 by MLB Pipeline. Arizona Diamondbacks prospect Christian Robinson also made his debut last week in Cactus League play. He scored the go-ahead run in the Diamondbacks' first win of spring training 4-3 over the Cleveland Guardians. Robinson spent the full season last year at the Double-A level in Amarillo.
In the penultimate game at the SJB Pavilion this season, Coach Yo led our Ole Miss women's basketball program to a pivotal conference win.
Ole Miss fell behind early and overcame a halftime deficit to defeat the Missouri Tigers 68-66 and improved to 18-8, 9-5 in the SEC. Ole Miss forced 23 Missouri turnovers while recording 14 steals, their 17th game this season with over 10 steals. Tied at 18 after the first, Missouri dominated the second to take a 40-30 lead in the halftime. It was a complete turnaround in the third when Ole Miss outscored Missouri 29-11 to take control. They eventually went on to score 38 points in the second half to hold on for the win. The final game of the season in the SJB Pavilion will be against the defending champion and 6th-ranked South Carolina Gamecocks on February 27th.
That'll do it for Our Sports. The Hugh Campbell Trophy is headed back to Grand Bahama, the high school basketball capital of the Bahamas. Back to the studio.
Still ahead on our news tonight, not every artist gets the chance to work with international music icons, but one Bahamian vocalist did. Find out who and how it all happened coming up. And rain showers soaking the capital, but how long will this last? Greg has your extended weather forecast when our news continues.
It's the first exclusive destination just for Carnival Cruise Line guests. Celebration Key in Grand Bahama, a multi-million-dollar project expected to help kickstart Grand Bahama's long-crippled economy. But questions are already coming about who will benefit, how much, and how soon. Atalia Hall asks those critical questions in a special RTV Presents, Wednesday, February 26th at 8 p.m., only on RTV.
Fest. New edition. Tony Braxton. DJ Cassidy's Pass the Mic Live. Starring Ja Rule, Fat Joe, and Remy Ma. Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. Beanie Man. Escape. Coco Jones. Kim. Also, a special set featuring Miss Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, YG Marley, Busta Rhymes, Doechii, and many more. JITG Music Fest. March 8th and 9th at Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets at jazzinthegardens.com.
Tune in to Hot 91.7 for your chance to win a trip to Jazz in the Gardens.
This is our news. Welcome back. Very active early morning around the northwest Bahamas. Active cold front pushed through the area. Quite a bit of showers and thunderstorms associated with that. We did have a severe thunderstorm watch issued by the Department of Meteorology for some severe thunderstorms expected with this system as it pushed through. And of course, they did have a few of them. We saw some really serious action in Harbour Island with some waterspout activity. That's what it appears to be. Possibly even making it on land, becoming a tornado. And it did quite a bit of damage. But most of that activity has now pushed into the southeast Bahamas, associated with that frontal boundary, a very dry air mass building in behind that. That's going to continue to provide us with some very nice conditions over the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through the early part of tomorrow. And then once that system pushes towards the southeast, the entire chain should be experiencing some very nice conditions. Temperatures will be in the 70s. We expect those temperatures to continue to plague us for the rest of the week. There is a front expected by the weekend. We'll show that in our future forecast. But moisture associated with that front now pushing into the southeast Bahamas, as I mentioned. Some residual showers hanging out behind that. But by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, that front well to the east of us, and a very dry air mass with some high pressure building in, with some spotty isolated showers across the area over the next couple of days. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas. We're asking you boaters to exercise caution. Northwest winds tonight, they will be shifting north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Tomorrow seas 2 to 4 feet. Low tide is at 11:53 tonight. Your high tide takes place at 6:15 in the morning. For the southeast Bahamas, verbal winds at 5 to 10 knots. They will fall light throughout the night and into the early parts of tomorrow. Seas will be running 2 to 3 feet. Very nice conditions expected over the next couple of days. Here's a look now at your national forecast. Forecast. Beautiful conditions expected over the next couple of days. Temperatures will be near the 80-degree mark, not really getting too warm. 70s at night, but we do expect a second front that's going to drop our temperature by the weekend. So we're looking at some 70s during the daytime, low 60s at night. That's a look at our weather. Natalia.
All right, Greg. Jazz in the Gardens coming up, Greg.
Yeah, wifey wanted to go, and actually she did get to go before I did. So,
she left you out.
She beat me to the deal.
I went last year and it was a blast. I had a great time. They had Summer Walker. Kirk Franklin, he put on a spectacular performance.
You know the artists this go around?
There are several. I think I saw in the script they have Lauryn Hill, New Edition, Tony Braxton, Beanie Man, Nate and I. We had a blast.
Should be a good concert.
For sure.
But don't say that too loud. Wifey may hear you. So.
She want to go.
Yeah, she want to go.
All right, Greg. Thanks so much. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Hot 91 and Our News are teaming up to get you to this year's Jazz in the Gardens, March 8th and 9th. And as I mentioned, featuring Lauryn Hill, New Edition, Tony Braxton, and Beanie Man, and much more. Be sure to listen in to Hot 91 weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. for the Jazz in the Gardens code phrase. Once you hear it, head over to hot91fm.com or the Music Media 242 app contest page to enter. The winner receives round-trip tickets, hotel and concert tickets for you and a friend. And be sure to look out for the Our News team to tell us all about your experience. It's the Jazz in the Gardens Flyaway promotion. Well, working with international music legends is not something every artist can do. And then there are others who get the awesome opportunity. Well, tonight, our Daniel Miller tells us about a Bahamian vocalist who had just the privilege to do that.
Meet Travis Clark. I was introduced to him at Alpha Sound's Back to Love concert. He delivered a spectacular vocal performance alongside Grammy award-winning artist Regina Bell. But that's not the only notable name in the music industry he's worked with. For several years, the artist was managed by the late Joe Jackson. He says he took a break from music for a moment, but he had a health scare that prompted him to return to the stage.
It's been a long time coming because I've been out of the Bahamas for about 10 years touring China, and now I'm back. I took a break for a while, but then I had a cancer scare, and then that brush with cancer forced me to pen again.
Despite his scare, Travis says he will continue to do what he loves and keep making music. Reporting for our news, I'm Danielle Miller.
All right, such an inspiration, of course, to see that story again is available now at ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening. Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already trust.